right, we got another episode, season 4, episode 15. We want to thank our guest Justin for coming on here. He's been coming on here quite a few times, and we want to thank you from the bottom of our heart. We will be closing out the show next year, so we're just kind of bringing on new guests. I mean, guests that previously came on to have a life update, let them know what's going on. So what's been up with you, Justin? What's going on with any big life updates?
Oh man, so much. First, I just want to say thank you guys for having me. It means the world. I thoroughly enjoy being a part of the show. As far as life updates, I've lost 125 pounds.
That's good.
Got back
Keep
into
looking.
fighting. Um, I'm writing a book. It's should be out in the fall. Try to do it around Halloween. And it's basically just the tutorial of not only my weight loss journey, but how I changed my life, how I got sober, everything, and just compiled into one work. And it closes with a workbook of like some of the exercises that I did to get me to where I'm at now.
Mhm. How long did it take you to write the book?
I'm still making little tweaks, but it took 6 to 8 months of just
6 to 8
kind of
months.
pouring my heart out.
Mhm. Yeah, I remember when I wrote my memoir. It'll be out next year. It was some very tragic things that happened to me in my childhood trauma, in my childhood, and then just going through a lot of relationship problems and friendships and stuff like that. And I had to change a lot of the names because I didn't want to get sued, right?
Right. That was a hard thing for me to like.
Because I mean, people can still figure out and put things together who I'm
Oh
talking
yeah,
about, but
especially the people who know you the best.
yeah. And I was going through it, so I understand what it's like to kind of pour your heart. But then there's some chapters where you just kind of like have to, come back to it at a later time because it's like, it's really hard and emotional reliving the childhood trauma or reliving certain experiences that made you really tear up or maybe made you really sad and you really hoped for that the best with that partner, or you really hoped it with that friendship, or you really wish the best for them, but then at the end of the day, you still have to cut your ties with people.
Right.
Yeah.
There was a few parts that I guess I subconsciously just blocked it out, but then when I was writing this book, it was like everything came pouring back, and it was painful all over again.
Yeah. And are you still making music? Because I know the last time you said you was
I
you had
am. I'm always writing. I haven't released anything for the last little bit, but it's coming. Probably later this summer.
later this summer. Okay. Could you give like the audience members like a maybe like what type of genre, or what is it gonna, like, you have a direction on what it's gonna be about, or what is it gonna be?
It's all going to be rock still, but it's going to be more positive, and I'm
More
trying to
positive.
put a message behind everything, like,
Hmm.
follow your dreams, or life's not too chaotic, or just things like that. Try to put, I don't want to say hidden messages in the songs, but they'll be pretty upfront.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I remember when I would try to I was fun story, like back in 2023 when I had got laid off from my corporate job. I was just trying to see if I can get my foot into music, but unfortunately that never went anywhere.
Right. It's a
Because I
hard.
just, yeah, because it's like as I sit here, I'm on my keyboard and I'm looking at all the notes that I put on it, but yet I haven't practiced it in over 2 years now,
Right.
or 3 years now. And I'm just thinking to myself, man, like it's really hard. Like it's not as easy to play an instrument or sing. Like, how did you get into like music? Like, what inspired you to get into that? And
My grandpa actually
Oh,
As
your
long
brother.
as I can remember, he played the guitar, he sang in church, and granted, I went another way with it, but he taught me everything.
Mm. Did he like what type of was he into rock as well too, or was he into a different genre?
His was more bluegrass or
Bluegrass. Ooh,
gospel.
okay.
Um, but he taught me if you can learn how to play a bluegrass tune, you can evolve that into anything you want it to be.
Mm. I never know that because sometimes like you can. I learned a little bit in my time of just trying to take a music class. Like I think there's different. Like everybody can't hit a high note or everybody can't hit a low note because I think it's just like the inflections in your voice can only
Right.
carry you so much. But um, did you struggle with like music at first, or is it just
Oh
come
yeah.
naturally? Did it come naturally to you?
It was rough. Like the first few years, I quit numerous times. You know,
I don't blame you. What's some of your best songs that you think you've written that's either publicly or not released to the public? What
uh,
inspired you to do those songs?
there's actually one that's it's going to come out in August. It's called Last Name, and it's just more or less it's a love song for my fiance. That's kind of how I asked her to marry me, but I want to actually put it out to the world, so maybe somebody else can use that for a similar scenario.
Mm. And are you so you're currently married with her and
Engaged.
engaged? Okay.
Wedding is August 1st.
Okay,
That's
congratulations.
new since last time as well.
Yeah, that's really good news. Like I don't know, like I say sometimes I feel like it's hard to find the right woman because it's just like sometimes people, your past relationships can really put a bad taste in your mouth, right?
Absolutely. I still struggle with, what if she cheats or, things like that
Mhm.
because it's not something easy to come back from once it happens to you once. It's kind of always in the back of your mind that it might happen again.
Mhm. Do you feel like you can trust her? Because a lot of times men feel like they can't really trust their partners because like, maybe they've been cheated on in the past or maybe, you know, they still have some of their childhood trauma that that's unresolved and that kind of carries over into relationships. What's your take on that?
I feel like with her, I can absolutely trust her. We're just open books. She's like my best friend.
Mhm.
But in other relationships, after my divorce and getting cheated on and things like I really struggled with even opening up to people. Like
Yeah.
I was just so closed off and angry about the way things happened. And it took me a
Mhm.
long time to just let it go.
Yeah, I know trust is a big thing in because, you know, when you've been in past relationships or things to that nature, it's kind of like, and things haven't turned out the way you expected, then you kind of carry that over into your, other relationships and you always have this back of your, always thing in the back of your mind, like, are they gonna break my heart or are they gonna cheat on me or are they gonna do things? And I know friends that's like that and currently in relationships, and some of them are in very dysfunctional relationships where
Right.
the woman is physically abusing the man. And we don't ever talk about that enough.
Right.
Um,
That's one thing nobody talks about is, men can be abused too. And
yeah.
it is okay to reach out to ask for help.
Hmm. And I think enough men. I think that I don't know. I think that emasculates men when they say that, "Oh, my woman abused me," or I think that it's like that stigma, like, "You a man, why can't you defend yourself?" Like, but some women are strong, right?
Right. It's like that's what we're taught our whole lives is to be strong, to brush it off, whatever. But everybody has feelings at the end of the day.
Mhm. What would you say if someone is like, kinda like in a bad relationship right now, if a man is in a bad relationship with his woman and he feels like, the sex is good and everything like that, but on an emotional level, they're not able to fully connect, or it's really draining his mental health. Well, what would you say to that guy?
That it's okay to reach out to ask for help. Therapy is always a great option. And if things don't change, if you still don't feel like you're enough, it's okay to remove yourself from that situation. Because
Yeah.
at the end of the day, it's not what's happening to you, it's how you come back from it.
Speak on that a little bit more.
Like in any situation, not just relationships, like you have to prove to yourself that like whatever trauma comes your way, you were strong enough and mentally sound enough to come back, to reach out, to rebuild yourself. Like when I started writing this book, I thought my whole life had fallen apart. And it's all about being comfortable with yourself.
Yeah. And I think when you mention self, sometimes men get into relationships and they either don't love themselves, or they have insecurities,
Absolutely.
that kind of like makes the relationship more worser. But I think sometimes, and I know a few guy friends that's going through this, like they're very insecure because like maybe they don't love themselves enough to you know see that that person loves them for who they are, and
Right.
they don't they have to have constant validation from their significant other saying, I love you for who you are. Like, if you have to keep doing that, like, why are we together? Like,
Right.
I don't need to assure you of your confidence that I true love you. But some men are not fully, they haven't stepped into their full confidence of loving themselves. And I'm always going to be an advocate for men to love on themselves before they get into relationships. You know?
Absolutely. I swear by self love is the most important thing in the world. Because
Mhm,
at the end of the day, if you don't love yourself, how can you love somebody else?
mhm. Yeah, I remember when I was dating this girl back in high school, and I was very insecure. I was one of those men, or
Right.
one of those guys that didn't really love myself enough to love, you know, to to even love someone else. Like I had very bad insecurity. Like I always would pick my hair. I would always be in the mirror, trying to get off the blemishes because I used to have acne really bad
Mm,
and stuff like that. I
same. I
always look
do.
Yeah, I would always look for I would always, be so insecure about my insecurities, that it was so bad that it would turn people off. But, here go, I found her, and we dated for some time, and I thought to myself, why does she love me? Why does she always around? Like, because she really did truly love me. But needless to say, that relationship did not end well because I don't think women, or I don't think, I think, girls or women can pick up on men's insecurities really fast. So has
Absolutely.
there ever been a, relationship that like maybe you've been in that maybe you couldn't fully be honest with yourself and tell the girl, or your partner about, some of your insecurities? Has there ever been a time like that for you?
Oh, yeah. There's been a few. Um, I've struggled with abandonment issues my whole life. Just always that constant validation of needing to hear that I'm doing enough or that I matter to somebody. Uh,
Yeah.
Up until here recently, it's been an issue.
Mhm.
And that's where you have to come back to set with yourself. And I don't want to say get comfortable being uncomfortable, but it's one of those things where if you want to change your life, it comes down to the person who looks back at you in the mirror. You have to be okay there first.
Yeah. And I think that's what you said you was mentioning last year when you was on the show, for our third season, that you kind of lost weight because you felt more better, you feel more
I,
healthier. Did you do that for yourself personally, or you did it because maybe you want to please your now fiance, who knows, like, or did you really truly do that for yourself?
a little of both. There was a comment made. I forget what it was verbatim now. Right when I started that journey, that I was starting to look like a balloon or something to that nature,
Mhm.
and I just used that as fuel and like ran with it. And then I got back into the boxing and I cut down to 184 pounds. I would limit what I was eating drastically, like to the point it got unhealthy for a little while.
Mhm. Yeah, and then, my final 3 questions here. What is some of the characteristics that maybe Justin, that was on the heavier side, carry with him now that he's a little bit more thinner? What is some of the things that you kinda took with you along the way, when you was like, do you feel like you're a different person, or are you still the same person, just in a slimmer body, if that makes sense? Do you feel like anything's changed about you since you're maybe probably more confidence now, right?
Definitely more confident. I just feel better. Like, some days it pained me to get out of bed or just to go do anything. But I'm definitely more active now. I can be a bigger part of my community.
Mhm. Yeah,
I've just learned that it all starts with self love over the last few months.
yeah. And then going to the gym, did you feel like did you ever feel, like, insecure when you went to the gym and you saw maybe other guys that might were bigger than you and more shape, or did that stuff didn't really matter? You was focused on getting your goals in and not worrying about the outside world. What side were you on when you was when
Ultimately, I think there's that person in every gym who you're like, wow, it works for him. I need to do that. So there's always somebody you're going to model yourself after. And I did the same thing. But at the end of the day, you know, baby steps are the most important. You can't run a marathon without taking the first step.
Mhm. And then my last question here is like, I know you say you have a kid,
Mhm.
have a boy. How has that relationship been like? Have you been kind of instilling him to eat healthy? Because I know it starts really when they're young, right?
Oh,
Um,
absolutely.
have you instill some of the traits that, like, maybe eat this much broccoli or whatever? Because I know when they're young, they don't really like stuff like that. But like, has that been a goal of yours to not eat so much candy and stuff like that?
Oh, yeah. More often than not now, he's still really big on his chicken nuggets and fries, but he's branched out so much more than what he did last year. Actually, I think he appeared on the show last year.
Yeah, he did.
Um, Now he's a lot more. I can't speak on what he eats at his mom's house, but he doesn't eat a whole lot of candy when he's here.
That's
And we've switched the juice to like natural fruit juice. He drinks a little bit of water now.
that's good. That's good. All right. Well, I got to get ready to go here, Justin, but it's been a pleasure talking to you. And I could try to see if I can squeeze you in one more time, before our show ends next year. But, you know,
Of
it's,
that.
it's sometimes it's really hard, like,
Right.
to get people on because it's just so many schedules and my schedule. So I'm going to try to fit you in, hopefully one more last time, probably towards, next around this time next year.
Okay.
Um, but and then we can close out the show, and I'm gonna have maybe like an in-person party, but I'm just trying to see how many people actually show up, right?
Right. Absolutely.
That's always the gamble. Like, I don't want to rent something out and no one shows up. So
Right.
that would be a waste of money and a blow my spirits.
Especially in today's time, you got to save what you can.
Yeah. All right. Well, I got to get ready to go here, but it's been a pleasure talking to you, Justin. And I will schedule again next year, hopefully one more time before the show ends.
That sounds great. Thank you so much for having me. Can't wait to do it again.
All right. Take care, man. And stay safe and healthy.
Always.
All right.